Monday, you'll remember, we talked to audio expert Tom Owen, and I was asking him to analyze those screams that we heard in the background of the 911 calls that were made on the night that Trayvon Martin was shot and killed. And eventually, what the conclusion that he came to was that the screams that he looped and then analyzed did not match the voice of George Zimmerman. He walked us through this on Monday, which he matched the 911 call a little bit earlier. And he also said because they didn't have audio clips of Trayvon Martin's voice, they were not able to confirm that, in fact, the screams were Trayvon Martin, but he said in his analysis it was not George Zimmerman. Then I asked him this. Okay, as you know, a lot of the conversation that we've had about this 911 call has focused about 2 minutes and 20 seconds in, where I hear a curse and then a racial slur. You know what I'm talking about on this?
On the 911 call?
Yeah. If you go about 2 minutes and 20 seconds in, there's been lots of debate.
Right.
So have you investigated that at all? What does your analysis say of what that is? Can you clarify that so people can hear and decide, yes, in fact, that is what I think it is, or that it's not what I think it is?
I could certainly clarify that, but I've not been asked to do that.
So if I asked you to do that, would you do that?
It's Zimmerman or not. I very well may do that.
Not only could he may well do that, he actually did do it for me. And here is his enhanced version of what I hear to be curse, racial slur. Listen, it's been looped 3 times. So he says, Mr. Owen says, through his forensic analysis, that he believes that George Zimmerman is saying the word, curse word, and then close. Which I did not hear, even after I've now looped this a bunch of times. Another forensic expert that we asked to do the same thing had his version, and here's what he looped. Okay, so he, Ed Primo, says that he does hear the curse word and then a slur that's been in question. We want to get to Natalie Jackson. She's the attorney, one of the attorneys for Trayvon Martin's family, joining us this morning. Ms. Jackson, thanks for talking with us. So as you heard there, my pleasure. One expert has said, yes, in fact, it's a curse and a slur. The other expert says, no, in fact, it's a curse and then something about close. Are you confident that actually you're going to be able to isolate that and know what was said on that windy day at that time, 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the 911 call?
Well, Soledad, this is a case that the prosecutor will be the ones prosecuting this case, not our team. However, in all these cases, there's always different experts that will say different things. Each side will have an expert. Here, the important thing is that the jury gets to decide. And I will tell you from my experience in jury trials is that juries have a lot of common sense, and they listen and they hear and they watch, and you cannot tell them if they are really paying attention, what they're hearing and what they're seeing.
The Department of Justice is looking at this as a potential hate crimes case, right? So that chunk, if in fact it's a curse and a racial slur, could be very important to making that case for the DOJ if they decide to go that way. If they decide it's not a racial slur, it could kill the case altogether. So it's kind of the $64,000 question in a way, isn't it?
It is. It's a huge part of the question. We asked the Department of Justice when we met with them what they what role that would play, and they said that would be a really big part, what he's saying. So, you know, it's left up to interpretation of the experts.
We had an interview yesterday with Frank Taffy, and Will Kane and I were talking to him. We talked about burglary. We talked about young black men in the neighborhood who he correlated with burglaries. And I asked him a question about, did he think it made sense then to think that George Zimmerman would be fearful of young black men? And here's what he said.
You know, there's an old saying that if you plant corn, you get corn.
I don't know that saying, so I'm going to have to ask you to tell me what that means. If you plant corn, you get corn. What does that mean in this case?
It is what it is. It is what it is. I would go on record by stating that of the 8 prior burglaries in the 15 months prior to the Trayvon Martin shooting, all of the perpetrators were young black males.
What do you think he's saying in that interview, ma'am?
Yeah, I think he's saying that racial profiling is fine. I will tell you, Soledad, Frank Taffy was not there. He's the worst representative for George Zimmerman. The things that he says, it's incredible. And to think that, you know, he is the representative that is being put out here to show that this was not racial profiling. It's just outrageous.
Can I ask if you alluded to this before, but if the Justice Department concludes that it cannot ascertain what was said in the 911 tape, are there other grounds in your view for pursuing a hate crime case, or is that pretty much the linchpin?
I'm sorry, repeat that, sir?
I'm saying if the Justice Department concludes that it cannot ascertain what was said in the 911 call, in your view, are there other grounds for pursuing a hate crime case, or is there not, are there not other grounds if there's not a clear indication of what was said on the tape?
Well, Florida has a hate crime statute, but I don't believe that the prosecutors will prosecute under that. I believe that they'll just prosecute it under a homicide statute, and they'll leave the hate crimes to the Justice Department. So, yes, if the Justice Department decides that it's not a slur or that they don't have enough evidence, they have a very high standard, then that'll be the end of any type of hate crime.
So we know that the FBI has now spoken to Trayvon's girlfriend, that she was having a conversation with him, as you well know, right around the minute before he was killed. Also, we're told that they've had conversations with Frank Taffy as well. Have you followed up with her to find out any details of what's come out of those conversations that she said now on the record with the law enforcement?
We have talked to her, our team. However, we've talked to her with the investigator, but what she says is what she's always said. So, you know, that's really up to the prosecutor to follow up with her. So, no, our team tries to just, you know, monitor what's going on, just to assure the family who's been told a lot of stuff and, you know, make sure that things are progressing the way that they should.
Natalie Jackson is an attorney for the Trayvon Martin family. Thanks, Ms. Jackson. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you so much.
You bet.